Hope everyone is feeling good today, guys. The conversation that I want to have today is about Nicole Shanahan, particularly the 2026 governor's election in California. Because, guys, I don't know if you've heard, it's been making noise pretty much everywhere. Nicole Shanahan is considering making a run for the governor's seat in California. This is so important, and the fact that she already has a lot of support before even announcing her campaign is really, really promising. But there's a couple of things that have happened that I think are dangerous that I believe more people need to be talking about. So I wanted to go ahead and build out this conversation with you today. So it's going to be a little bit messy, but hopefully that's okay. I just want to go ahead. I've just been collecting like a lot of information and data over the last 2 weeks, and I just genuinely don't see other people talking about this. So I thought, let's go ahead and have the conversation that maybe other people aren't. So in case you haven't heard, this is she recently said this with Benny Johnson on his show, and she was just hinting that she is willing, like absolutely. She's okay with other people stepping in, but she just wants the best person for the role. And if the best person is her, then she will absolutely step into that story for California. So I love it. Let's check this out. Also, before I play it, guys, if you like having conversations like this, please consider liking and subscribing. 68% of you guys are not subscribed, so please don't be part of that statistic. Subscribe. All right, check this out.
Will you be running for governor? Do you have intentions to do this?
I have an intention to make sure that these individuals are no longer in charge. It's more than one seat. We've got to take back some really important council seats in core cities. We've got to replace some mayors as well. I'm involved in the Karen Bass recall. We're going to see that through. We're going to make sure that the next mayor of LA is a mayor that can rebuild. That would never allow a major reservoir to stay dry while in maintenance. That's the real question is why did it have to be dry during maintenance? It doesn't make any sense. And they claim it was because of bird poop and bacteria, but you have UV rays and the water's just sitting there. It's not being used at that time. And wouldn't it have been smart through fire season to have it full? So there's a lot to be done. And I'm not evading your question about whether or not I'm planning a run for governor. I want the best person to have that seat. And if that's me, of course, I'll step into it. But there's some good people in this state who are in line for that seat as well. And I've got no ego in this. I will work with a team as we did to get President Trump elected. This is a team effort, and we can't forget that.
So good. I love Nicole Shanahan for a lot of reasons, and just in case it's not clear, I do have some bias towards her. So I'm definitely supporting of her. But guys, this is so much bigger than Nicole Shanahan. We're talking about the biggest state in the country, and that's nothing to joke around about. California is near and dear to my heart. I believe in the state. I grew up in the state. I love the California, and in my lifetime, I've seen California just degrade time and again, and I've heard this so many times. My story isn't unique, and throughout the valley, throughout Southern California, we have just seen the same story repeated over and over again. So I believe that California is desperate for change. And guys, check this out. Um, I saw this from The Hill. This is from Emerson College polling, 2026 California governor Democratic primary. And this is important because of really one primary reason. Kamala Harris has not entered the race. Kamala Harris has been home in California for what? 3 weeks now? She's polling at 57%. That's crazy. She hasn't even announced anything. She hasn't said, guys, I'm running. Let's do it. No, she hasn't said a single thing, but she's already at 57%. Now, that's dangerous. Okay, that really is. California is the fifth largest economy, and Kamala Harris's campaign was $20 million in debt. This is serious. Okay, she raised $1 billion, guys. Come on, let's not forget that. I saw this from the New York Times. They have this headline saying that Harris has scrambled the California governor's race without entering it. Are you kidding me? the possibility of a run by the 2024 Democratic flag bearer looms over the race for California's top job. I'm not going to read this whole article, but I will go ahead and read this piece right here. I'll read this paragraph. Running for governor might seem like a step down for someone who served 4 years as the vice president and was the Democratic nominee for president. But by doing so, Ms. Harris would avoid the competitive slog of a presidential primary and have a strong chance to lead the nation's most populous state with the help of fellow Democrats who control the legislature. Ms. Harris has won in California every time she's been on the statewide ballot. Are you kidding me? Kamala Harris has won every time she's been on a ballot in California. That's dangerous. This is a serious this is a serious competitor for Nicole Shanahan as well as anyone else who chooses to run for governor in California as a candidate for president, vice president, senator, and attorney general. Kamala Harris is a really big threat. This has like nothing to do. This has nothing to do with how I feel about her, what I think about her. This is purely about numbers. All right. This is a numbers game. So I went to the good old Google Trends and I was just doing a little bit of research. This is over the last 90 days. I put in 3 names: Kamala Harris, Nicole Shanahan, and Chad Bianco, the Riverside sheriff who just announced his campaign. But I'll go ahead and just remove Chad for right now. But look at this. Just for Nicole Shanahan and Kamala Harris over the past 90 days, these are the numbers. This is search volume of Kamala Harris. And you can see it, Kamala Harris in blue, Nicole Shanahan in red. Nicole Shanahan only took over from only took a spot on one day, and that was January 29th from Kamala Harris. What day is that? Why did that happen? I'm glad you asked. I don't know if you guys remember, but on X, Nicole Shanahan was really pressuring senators to vote for RFK Jr. We all love that, right? Nicole Shanahan was really obliterating a bunch of senators, saying, if you guys don't vote yes on RFK Jr., I will personally fund challengers. That was crazy. That was gangster. But that really did put her on the map. And you could actually see that right here. But I've talked about this many times over my newsletter that I shared a while ago, saying the Nicole Shanahan effect. Is California ready for the future? I talk about how, for the most part, I think Nicole Shanahan's like one of her biggest problems is actually the system. Her biggest problem isn't being her biggest problem isn't about policy. Her biggest problem is about name recognition, and her biggest problem is kind of educating the public about on her running for office as an independent. Because check this out. If you could think of it as a graph right here, I wish I created some sort of graphic so I could share with you guys, but hopefully I could just share it with my hands. But look at this. It's easier if this is a line between left to right. Ideally, if you're on the left and like, let's go ahead and look at this graph while I say that. The amount of education that it takes to actually inform the public that it's not just going from left to right, but there's actually a possibility going from left to independent. That is a shorter gap, but it's not a shorter gap if you don't think it exists, if you don't know it exists, right? There's only left and right to so many people. And I think when I say so many people, I actually think that's reflected in like right here. Like, people know Kamala Harris. So many people like Kamala Harris. And for Nicole Shanahan, she has a much different story, right? And this is just, comparing them apples to apples. But I really do think that's the kind of bloodbath we're in. And that's kind of what I believe that Kamala Harris is avoiding by choosing to run in 2026 over a presidential run in 2028, because she knows that she is a shoo-in. And if I could speak to the character of Kamala Harris just for a second, because I kind of think humans are a little bit more like this. If Kamala Harris was afraid to speak with reporters or afraid to take on interviews or was very hesitant to even be asked certain questions to kind of manipulate things in her favor, if she's hesitant on that front, Like, why wouldn't she actually engage in elected office when her chances are this big? Like, how many people voted for Kamala Harris in California? Like, let me look it up real quick. California presidential election 2024. Give me 1 second. Oh my gosh. My computer just messed up real for 1 second. Okay, check this out. California. She got almost 60% of the vote. All right. 9 million people already voted for her. Like, are you really telling me that those same people won't just go ahead and vote for her again in 2020, like in 2026? Something has happened since then, and it was the fires. So I do think this is going to have a lot to do with it in the future. I think it's we're gonna be curious to see how much of an effect that Los Angeles fires actually had on the residents of California. But and speaking of which, I think one of the what's really important, I think, in politics is to be able to have kind of clear winners and losers, to have clear heroes and villains. And I think that's just important in terms of how people perceive politics on a really broad scale. That's why the left loves to identify President Trump as a villain. And just because it's so easy and it's just highly effective. I'm not saying it's right. I want to be very clear on that. I'm not saying it's right, but I am saying that that's what works. Right. So this is the Los Angeles Times. This is Riverside Sheriff Chad Bianco, an avid Trump backer, will join the 2026 governor's race. And I got a couple clips of this just because people are definitely talking about this. They were chanting "We want Bianco" right before he actually announced his campaign. Check this out. So it is a packed house in Riverside. And here is another look of it when Bianco was actually announcing his campaign. Check this out.
Let's get to it. I'm here to announce our campaign to be the next governor of California.
There you have it. So again, there's what I really want to hit home with is that there are so many people in California who are desperate for meaningful change. So I really don't want what I'm saying to be seen as like anti Chad Bianco or anti any of these names over here. What I really am for is for change because I love California. California is home. I grew up there. I believe in it. I believe in its future. And whenever I think about the leader who could push that future forward, I'm sorry, and this could be unpopular for some people, but I just don't know if I see Kamala Harris as that hero in that story. I really personally see someone more so like Nicole Shanahan or someone. And here's the thing, um, the reason why I like the idea of Chad Bianco is really kind of what I was trying to illustrate earlier, and I believe I illustrated it kind of poorly. I do think because like yeah, a lot of people who watch these videos are independents and they know what it means and they know what it's like to vote for an independent. They know what it's like to support an independent. Yeah, but I actually think the majority of people kind of see things in more so black or white terms, right? People see things as left versus right, and there's only on very uh, small occasions where someone kind of disrupts things, and even then whenever they do disrupt things, it's because of such a kind of a rare type of occasion. So like, is this replicatable? I don't know. And but I do know that California is ready. And in my newsletter, I kind of go ahead and I share even more ideas on how an independent can win. And I go ahead and go a little bit deeper. If you guys want to go ahead and read that, you absolutely can. This is a little bit of an older piece. I wrote this in November 29th of 2024. Nonetheless, I think a lot of what I say here is still really important and valuable. But I do want to say that the fires, I believe, changed everything, and only time will tell. Depending on how much of an effect it had in how Californians actually elect people. But 2026, it is right around the corner. It is coming soon, and it is coming fast. But nonetheless, that's what the conversation that I wanted to have today. Nicole Shanahan, I love you. I'm supporting you, but this is no small feat, and I do think that moves got to start being made. Okay, but let me know what you think about all this in the comment section, and I look forward to reading it. All right, guys, I love you. Stay safe. Hope you have an incredibly beautiful Saturday. All right, guys, I will see you next time. Episode's over already. Jeez, that was fast. Well, they say beautiful things do not last forever, but feel free to watch and listen to another one of these episodes if you're interested in those conversations as well. Also, this next part is huge. Make sure to obliterate that like and subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never skip a beat. I also have a newsletter where we dive into the news, politics, and ideas that shape our future. If you're interested in signing up, I'd really appreciate that. Anyways, that's the end of this episode. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and I'll see you next time.